We have 220 cases of Alliance Insight pull data for you. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So, to answer the question before we get into this pull ratio data here, where was the rarity collection data, Robbie? Why'd you not post that? They just simply did not have time to put it together for me. You have to understand that you're dealing with a 900 card set at that time, and it was just impossible to get that data. So we're back on our retro scheduled program. We do have Alliance Insight data. Now keep in mind that this is supposed to be a core set. Core sets are not supposed to have real big oddities in the numbers and in the discrepancies and things like that. But people like me posting this stuff so that they can get an idea of, okay, well, maybe this is slightly shorted. And, it's also interesting to see the QCR data out here. So, Diabellstar Vengeance, we got 538 of those in Secret Rare. That's pretty impressive, honestly. I think that is our second highest Secret Rare out of here. Regenesis Archfiend following it up with 530 copies. Now, the Regenesis stuff I do think is very, very cool. I love the fact that we are going to see people out here trying to break this deck, whether or not as a splashable engine or as, just I can break a board and then soul charge back all of these cards during the opponent's turn, and now you're going to have to deal with that. Okay? We got 532 copies of Star Risal. I'm not going to say that I feel like Star Risal was a short print card at Sneak Peek, but it felt like a short print card at Sneak Peek because out of the first case I saw, I only saw, I think it was one Star Risal. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? Obviously, there's going to be variances and things like that, but that's a very interesting one to be seeing. Our Malice March Hare coming in at 527 copies. At $60 a card, that's a lot of money dedicated in the secret slots. The other problem is the March Hare had to be the card that was going to be the most expensive in the set, just because what the thing is capable of doing. And then, of course, Chasms, the Dragon Ruler of Aurora's 528. We're looking pretty normal about that. 539 copies of the Ally Code Talker at Ignister. That is going to be our heaviest pulled Secret Rare, just above one of the others. So you do have that variant swing there. Secret Rare is looking pretty balanced here, actually, which is pretty good. Now, the spell card, Regenesis. We did end up pulling 526 copies of those on this list. We got 528 copies of the Song of the Dominators. Got 528 copies of the Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. Man, I just murdered that name. I'm sorry. And then we also have the Gordian Slicer coming in at 526. So Secret Rare distribution looks good. I'm happy to see that, everybody. You want to see a nice balance in these. Now we get into the Ultra Rares. Now there's always going to be a discrepancy in the Ultra Rares. The Ultra Rares are... There's always going to be a card or two in here that just has 100 less versions of it for whatever reason, and I'm never going to understand that, but I guess you can't print all Ultra Rares equally, or maybe variants takes a hold, but you're so much closer on the Secret Rare variants this time that I can't believe they'd be seeing that. So we pulled 791 copies of the backup at Ignister. And this is going to be your most pulled Ultra Rare in combination with another one. So good thing that Konami actually paid attention to the community out here, because I was worried about the backup at Ignister. You're printing a card that basically is a 3 of in these decks. And the other problem is it's also at Ignister support. So you're going to have people out here that are going to want to play this in at Ignister. And then, they've got to go fight the Malice tax out here because that's the best deck. That's what happens when you print generic support. So good news. We're above the quota on these. That's good. Now, we got 731 copies of the Regenesis Sage and 731 copies of the Lord. You know what? I'm okay with those ratios, actually, because those are not terrible to deal with. Now, we also got 785 copies of Spectral and 785 copies of Nebulous. I'm going to be honest with you here. I care way more about Spectre than I do Nebulous. Nebulous ends up kind of being a one-of out here for most of the time. So it's interesting to see that both of those were pulled equally, though. We also got 731 copies of the Cyber Dark Worm. Huh. Interesting. Also appears that the Live Twin Lila Suite was 791 copies. So that's our one that was tied with our backup at Ignister. Now it also appears that Eclipse and Disaster were slightly lower in numbers at 645. So this is where you start to see the variant swing of these actually kind of taking hold and doing their thing. But let's call it what it is out here. You were only going to be playing one of these each anyway, so these are the slots that we don't really tend to care about getting reduced out here. If it happens, it happens. We also have the Fallen Angel of the Golden Lord, 731 copies. Good news, everybody. All of you Golden Lord players out here will be able to enjoy these really, really good. And then Witches of the White Forest. This is a slam in the face. So if you're trying to build White Forest, you're probably going to need 3 copies of the field spell. I mean, you can go with 1, but I'm question marking you because that card's freaking insane. You only got 648 of this. So I do view this a little bit as a problem because, yeah, sure, you paid the tax, you printed the backup ad Ignister into Oblivion, but you ping the White Forest players. That's a little bit of a problem. We also had 731 copies of the Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. You're still not making up for this by making Vengeance. A one-of, by the way. Super available. Number 69, the Heraldry Crest Dark Matter. 649 copies. That's cool. That's a one-of. And then Jirashin, the Cursed Thunder God, had 731 listings. I'm not really too crazy about seeing that number there. Maybe they think that card's going to be really good, but I'm not buying it. Now, quarter century data. This is where I get the chuckles because there's always something in here that's stupidly low. And it looks like starting off Diabellstar Vengeance, 22 copies. Okay, that's pretty average. Regenesis Archfiend at 21. Okay, we got 23 copies of Star Risal. Sure. Malice, which would be our extender, 25 copies. Ugh, that's a little bit low, especially for a card that you do want to be seeing in here. Chasm, coming in at 35. That's a lot, actually, but I guess it kind of does balance itself out. Ally Code Talker at Ignister coming in at 31. Regenesis, 33, and Songs of the Dominators coming in at 33 as well. Dark Magician Girl, The Dark Magician's Apprentice, 21. Of course, there's going to be less of probably one of the most desired cards in the set. Yeah, who didn't see that one coming, I guess. Gordian Slicer coming in at 35. Dragon Master Lord at 34. Backup at Ignister at 22. That's also interesting. So we got more of those printed into Ultra, but it appears we got less of them in the quarter century rarity. Okay. We got Regenesis Sage at 20 and Regenesis Lord at 21. Also appears that Spectral and Nebulous 22 and 23 respectively. We also got the Cyber Dark Worm at 20. Man, opening a case of this set's going to be real ass when you pull the worm in QCR. Lila Sweet at 20. That's also really bad. Ugh, I don't like that at all. We also got Eclipse, the Dragon Rulers of Catastrophes, and Disaster, the Dragon Ruler of all Apocalypses, 31 each. I don't know how you managed to pull both of those evenly, but that's cool. The Fallen Golden Lord Angel coming in at 23. Witches of the White Forest, the field spell, we pulled 36. That's funny. It's available less in Ultras, but it's more pumped up in QCR ratios. Alright, Konami. Sure. Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon at 21. The Dark Matter Heraldry Crest at 33. And the Cursed Thunder God coming in at 33. Interesting data. I don't have any complaints about this other than the White Forest field spell being less available. Card's going to be a decent amount of money. I don't think anybody's really ready for that discussion yet, but we'll have to wait and see out here because that's a little bit of a rough one. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.